You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Time! Tell us about yourself. Who are you?
Tell me!
It is a gift. A privilege.
Behold! My stuff.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on! Let's get nuts.
I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Happy New Year and welcome to the very first episode of the Meaning of Fandom for 2025. I am your host, Ryan of Van Eyck Quote Channel, and boy, do we have a star-studded lineup to talk about tonight. Not just because of the panelists who we are going to be sharing with you, but also some of the fandoms we're going to be discussing. One or two of them I'm not overly familiar with, but I'm curious to find out more about these. Now, if you have any questions or thoughts about any of these fandoms, or maybe something you may enjoy that's considered a fandom or character, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Be more than happy to take those as they come in. But without any further ado, let me introduce you to our great roundtable, I should say, of panelists. Please welcome all the way from Georgia. Braxton is back, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Braxton? How you doing, brother?
I'm great. How are you, man? Thanks for having me back on.
We're happy to have you. I'm doing quite well, good sir. It's good to see you. Hope everything's well in your neck of the woods. Also joining us on this episode of Meaning of Fandom is someone from the northeastern United States of New York. David is back. I mean, David, it seems like you follow me everywhere. You're not stalking me, right? No, I'm just kidding. It's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Hey, on social media, we're all stalkers, aren't we? Doing okay. Thank you.
Oh, boy, that could be taken a couple of different ways. But it's great to see you, man. I'm happy to have you here. We're all happy to have you here. And also joining us is someone who's no stranger to fandom, no stranger to this set, no stranger to this channel, and certainly no stranger to the fandom she's going to be discussing just a little bit later on, because she practically lives it 24/7 with all the books, collectibles, and everything else she's got in her studio and her set. Please welcome Snips. Hello, Snips. Welcome back. It's good to see you, and Happy New Year, Snips.
Hello. Thanks for having me back. Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Great to have you. And great to have you who may be watching or listening to this right now. So do not forget to like and share this with everyone that you know. And if you're joining us live or on the replay, thank you for doing so. Once again, we're going to talk about things called fandoms, whether it's a fandom or character, a property, whatever, something you may or may not be familiar with. That's what we're going to be discussing. It's going to be a lot of fun. So once again, if you have any thoughts on it, any questions, something that may spark your interest and you want to know more about it, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to take those as they come in respectively. So without any further ado, before I turn things over to our first panelist, which in this case is going to be our new best friend, I guess, because he's all the way down from Georgia, and I haven't been there in a hot minute. Braxton, before I turn things over to you, we have this for you who may be watching or listening to this right now. Take a look.
You have any idea how dangerous it is for you to be here?
Battle stations. We must warn the fleet. Move to intercept. Let's just hope there's still a fleet left to warn.
Now approaching robotech fleet. Look sharp.
I've never seen anything like that.
We're going to need every ship we've got.
This is a secret mission, Commander.
Yes, sir.
All hands to battle stations. All hands to battle stations.
How the enemy get our coordinates? It's an ambush!
All systems activate shadow devices. All units engage.
Those enemy fighters are coming in too fast.
We've been completely double-crossed.
Hang on!
Well, that's something clearly that's beyond our stars, galaxies, and holy stars and garters. But I'm just curious, Robotech, Braxton, why are you such a fan of this property? Because I'm not very familiar with it. Educate us.
1985. And so that was a time when I used to come home every day from school, and we had a local network television would just play cartoons in the afternoon. So I would get home, and I think it was around 3:30 in the afternoon, and that was the one show that was on, and I would lock in. And it encompasses 3 wars, so you have like almost 3 series that go on. There's the first series, which is the Macross Saga, then the second one was the Southern Cross, and then the third one was the Invid invasion. So it kind of took you through a time period where the robo technology was first discovered with this ship that crashed on Earth, and basically it enabled vehicles to transform into different modes. The Earthlings kind of worked on it for like decades, figured it out, started utilizing it, and they had kind of repurposed this ship. It was this huge command ship. And then one day the thing woke up and sent a signal into space. And then the aliens, the Zentradi, I think it was, basically was like a signal for them to come and collect their ship. And so that embarked this whole story. If you'd imagine, Robotech was more like a animated soap opera. I mean, there were characters, there was drama, there was romance, there was great action. And as the humans kind of tried to figure out how to master the technology, the Zentradi were like, "Where's our stuff?" kind of thing. And then after that series went on, and that was like, man, I don't know how many episodes of that there was. The Macross Saga came, which is basically like the next level, because the main characters in the first movie basically took off to the stars to try to find what they called the robotech masters, the ones who actually started this technology. So that kind of went on. The Southern Cross took over. They created some new form of the military where they basically turned the ships into hover tanks, and they were turned into robots as well. And they were fighting off the robotech masters actually came to Earth. And they had to fight them off, and then it finally kind of culminated with them getting wiped out. Everybody got wiped out by the Invid, who kind of came to get all of the robotechnology along with these spores that had been released as well. And then you had like Earth survivors who had left with Rick Hunter were coming back to Earth to try to save the planet from what the Invid had already done. So it was just, I mean, amazing. 3 wars that went on. And like I say, the story always had fantastic characters. It was a great pacing. And it was just a love that I had for, that's where I really kind of got introduced to anime. And ever since then, I've just been a huge Robotech fan. Those 2 movies that you saw were basically like extensions of the whole story, even after the Third War. So good stuff. I've got it all on DVD. It's just great to watch every now and then, throw them on and just be like, just so impressed by the storytelling and the task at hand of writing such an amazing story over 3 different wars. It was an accomplishment for sure.
Man, that's excuse me. Sorry, shouldn't have had more to drink. But no, that's exciting stuff, man. I'm intrigued by this. This is very, very. I mean, I've heard of a number of fandoms over the years, but this one is certainly one that stands out. Very different, very unique in its style and the way it's telling its story, and things that obviously anything with robots, giant lasers, pew pew pew. You know, absolutely. I'm gonna get a bit excited for because I like robots beating the heck out of other robots. And just find it out, brother. Yeah. You know, finding out who is the cream that rises to the top. Oh yeah, the cream of the crop. You know, when it comes to who's the biggest and the baddest, I don't know if you want to call it that, but
again.
I mean, that's the way I could use to describe it. That's one way to describe it, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen any of these movies. I've never seen any of the cartoons, the game, the property, whatever it is, because I know these things may have translated into video games, comic books, graphic novels. So none of this stuff I've ever seen before. So in the words of our late Hollywood star Judy Garland, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. So I'm curious though where this is going to go. So I may have to pick up something Robotech related. I don't even know where to begin. But
they have books, like you said. They do have books. So
okay,
it's a huge universe. It really is.
Yeah, is it 20 times bigger than Kevin Feige's MCU? Probably. Probably it could be. You know.
I mean, it depends on which way you look at it. You know.
Yeah.
Yes, there's MCU. Yeah, but it's about all the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, guess it could give him a run for his money. I don't know. It could happen to anybody. Yeah. But yeah, that's my familiarity with Robotech. So I'm getting an education on this one for sure. What about you, David? Any thoughts on Robotech? Are you familiar with this property at all?
No. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the 80s. And I'm wondering why this is so obscure to me. why didn't this kind of pick up? Why didn't it stick in pop culture?
You were born when?
82.
Yeah, see, so you were 3. There was no way you would be into that. You know what I mean? And so it was probably just something that was like playing in the background. I think it's kind of it's obviously has a cult following. It's not as big as like the Dragon Ball Z. I don't think it was as easy to pick up because it was, like I say, it was like a drama. It's space opera essentially. And so I don't think that was something that kids would really want to get into. It's not that easy to follow. I think where you might have gotten dropped into it, you might have been like right in like the middle or the end of it. So it's like, who's going to go back and track all this down and look at it again? And, back then you didn't have like a DVR and all that stuff. So if you missed the episodes, you had to wait till it came back around again, But I was religiously like watching it every day I came home. So I caught everything all the time. I don't think I've ever missed an episode, and then eventually I just ended up buying them on DVD and looking at them again. So.
Well, the whole thing that really shocks me is that this is like real anime. How early is anime at this point? I mean, that this is one of the earliest ones that reached the States, right?
Yeah.
In the early 80s. It's wild.
That's a valid point. The 80s were a big deal, even though I wasn't around for 60% of it. Sorry. I was born later, Braxton. Blame somebody else for that. By the way, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie is here. She says, hi, all totally new here. Just saw you all were live, and I wanted to see what this is all about. Well, guess what? You picked a heck of a time to join us, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie. We're happy that you're here. We're talking about characters and fandoms that mean something special to us and why. And right now we're talking about something known as robotech, which some of us here may not be familiar with, but we're learning about it. And that's the best thing about the show is that you learn, right? It's educational. That's the best part of this whole thing. So if you have any thoughts, questions, or something you may want to bring up concerning this fandom or another character or fandom that you may be passionate about, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie, that's a username right there. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. But yeah, robotech is some interesting stuff. I guess David and I have some homework to do. What about you, Christy? Has this ever come across your desk of books and comics and whatever else you've been reading? Because you read 20,000 things a day.
No, I can't. But after watching that little video you played, I do have to say it did look like a few of the characters and like designs did look familiar. I just never knew what it was. And after you explained it, Braxton, it does definitely sound interesting.
Oh, it's really amazing. Now, are you guys Gundam fans? Because Robotech came out before Gundam.
Oh,
and
wow.
in Japan,
That's crazy.
In Japan, it was all about, they had like a show called Macross, that it was like unrelated to this. And so I think that like their real version of what they got into was Macross, and then it translated into Robotech and came over here. And I think it was like, it's back in the day with like Battletech and Mech Warrior, like all those guys kind of came off of the tail end of Robotech. And so it's just got a rich background to it. And I'm surprised that like none of the streaming services actually have it. I really am. Because there's a ton of Gundam on Netflix.
Yeah, there's Netflix. What's another one? Crunchyroll is another streaming one, I think, which is a big one. That's got a lot of anime properties on it. Roku smart TVs actually have like 24/7 streaming channels, which are anime centered. I mean, I think one of them is specifically called, I think one of them is Crunchyroll, and then another one is Yu-Gi-Oh! Like has a 24/7 just streaming service of nothing but Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm like, geez, these properties just go forever, don't they? There's like, there's different iterations. There's Multiverse of Madnesses. Sorry, that's the wrong property, but you know what I mean. Like there's Multiverse over here. There's a different iteration of it over here. There's like an alternate world, like what if this happened to it version of it. It's cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. In the words of our good friend Jefe, it's a plethora. There's a plethora of these kinds of things out there. But yeah, no, I guess all three of us here in this building have some homework to do after this show, because I know I've heard of Gundam. I've seen graphics or DVD covers of Gundam. I know it's probably, I don't know, it may or not be streaming somewhere. I don't know. But I know I've seen, what is it, like Gundam cards or comics, whatever it is, make appearances at conventions. I mean, anime is like getting bigger and bigger at Comic-Cons. Like more and more people are dressing up as those characters. The properties are getting more and more spotlighted. Celebrity guests, whether it's the voiceover actors or actresses, because there's a lot of them out there. And there's also like some of the co-creators are showing up at conventions doing signings now. And I'm like, geez, this is like Alice, it goes deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. So it's amazing to me that these properties are getting so much more attention now than they did 30 years ago, Braxton.
Yeah, and I think at one point, believe it or not, who was which Maguire? Which one did one of the Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire, you mean?
Maguire?
Yeah.
He actually was interested. This is like years ago, maybe like a decade or so ago.
Yeah.
Interested in getting the rights of it to try to produce it.
Oh, geez.
Into a live movie, and he was going to play the main character, Rick Hunter. But I mean, that's a colossal undertaking because first of all, you cannot make the you can't make it into a movie. The first war, you'd have to do a series. It would be like a series on Netflix. Probably the best person to try to pull it off, and you would have multiple seasons of the one war. Then you'd have multiple seasons of the second. So I think he just, when they looked at the scope of it, it just wasn't going to fly. But hopefully one day somebody will do something with it.
Well, one can only hope, that's for sure. By the way, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie says this is a very cool discussion you all are having. She says, thank you for welcoming me, Cutsy. Well, you're welcome, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie. That's, wow, curtsy. I haven't heard that word in a while. Good Lord. Are we old-fashioned here? By the way, she says, I loved the graphic novel Tank Girl, not so much the movie with Lori Petty, a.k.a. Kit Keller from A League of Their Own, which is one of the best movies/sports movies of all time, and anyone who says it's not is fooling themselves. So much that movie, though, it was fun. Hey. Wow. Tank Girl. Anyone familiar with Tank Girl? I mean, I know of the images. I've just never seen the original movie with Lori Petty nor the original property. Are you familiar with that one, Braxton? Tank Girl? Does that ring any bells? No? Okay, great. We're all being educated here, fellas. Get your educational hats on. It happens to us. It happens to the best of us all the time. But yeah, no, this is interesting stuff. Three of us here in this building, we may have to do some homework afterwards. Maybe start diving into this. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe when I go to the next convention, I'll be like, hey, anyone ever heard of something called robotech? And then I'll probably get like a couple of stares at me like, what the heck are you talking? And then other people are like, you're talking about my property. What are you doing? Like, I've been waiting for years for someone to say the magic word robotech. What are you doing? It's just, who knows? Maybe if Christy and I mentioned it in a crowded room at New York Comic Con, the Javits Center, maybe someone will pick it up, Christy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like that's where I've seen it. That's why I think like it looks so. I feel like I've seen like it's definitely New York Comic Con that I think I've seen this at. Like it just looks so familiar.
Okay, well maybe it has made appearances in New York. I mean, New York Comic Con is one of the biggest shows in the world. So, if it's there, then. By the way, Cosmic says yes, I agree with you about A League of Their Own. My step jerk worked on that, but really, wow, okay. Not sure if you mean stepfather or step somebody else you weren't a fan of at that point, but okay. That's interesting, though. That's interesting. So-and-so worked on that movie. Wow. Okay, fantastic. Robotech. Feel free to look it up. Plenty of options out there, whether it's the graphic novels, the comics, the video games, whatever. There's a plethora. Braxton, you able to stick around for another round of fandom, or do you got a jet?
Let's run it for 10 minutes. I can do it.
10 minutes, boy. Okay, there's only so much we can do with 10 minutes. Anyway, before we toss things over to our next panelist, to talk about our next character or fandom that we want to present to you here on the Meaning of Fandom. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. And if you're watching us live on the replay, thank you for doing that. We have this to share with you. Take a look at this one, folks.
Here's the thing. We're a team of thieves. And when you do this, you're bound to make enemies. Sometimes those enemies come looking for revenge. Truth be told, we helped the wrong person steal the wrong thing. We didn't mean to unleash the greatest evil the world has ever known. But we're gonna fix it.
So how do we pull that off? Figure it out over a drink?
Probably best.
You need to
To give us a fighting chance, we're gonna need strength. You got this, right?
I know you don't.
We also need courage, magic, and you. What is that again? It's an owl bear.
Let's go!
Be warned. There is evil here.
I'm glad he's on our side.
This one's dangerous. But whatever happens, we'll be ready.
What is it exactly that you bring to this?
I'm a planner. I make plans.
You've already made the plan, so...
If the existing plan fails, I make a new plan.
So you make plans that fail?
No.
He also plays the lute.
Not relevant.
Wow. Okay, who would have thunk that Steve Trevor would end up in old school medieval times and fight dragons and thieves and wonders and magic and mystics and whatever else he got himself into? Good Lord, Steve Trevor, what have you done to yourself when you got killed off in the first Wonder Woman movie? And no, there was never a sequel. There was never a sequel.
No such thing. Never heard of it.
No, there was never another one after the first one, right, Braxton? No.
Why would they do that?
As far as
never happened.
I think they made a spoof called 1984.
Yeah, something like that. I think it was like a parody on SNL, maybe. Christy, I don't know. Maybe somebody else knows more about that than I do. But hey, Chris Pine's in this, and Michelle Rodriguez, who is best known for her fame in Fast and Furious, now she's doing something that's different than Fast and Furious. Thank you, Michelle. You're a great actress, you're talented, but you've been doing the same movie for 20 years. Time for you to do something else. And you're doing this, which is great. I'm happy for you. I really am. So, what is it, David? Dungeons, dragons, mystics, thieves, craziness ensued. It's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. What makes this fandom or these characters so special to you, and why?
All right, I'll tell you right now. So, first of all, we have to start with Professor Tolkien. Tolkien is one of my favorite fantasy writers. And today is actually his birthday. He would have been 133 years old had he still been living. So in honor of Tolkien, we have to give honor to Dungeons and Dragons, because Dungeons and Dragons wouldn't exist without Tolkien, because Tolkien made fantasy and mythology into something that not just kids could enjoy, but also the adults. And the adults were looking for something like this to read and sort of enjoy at the time, because fantasy was really something for kids. But now this was something that adults can get into. And that's really why I like to write, because I think the imagination is something all of us need to use. It's almost like an organ in our body. And if you don't use it, it sort of fades away. And that's what Dungeons and Dragons is all about. It's all about imagination. When you're reading a book, like Christy reads all these books, she knows all about imagination, because as you're reading, you have to, as the author, you have to put on the page what it is you want to say and how you want to say it. It's very important. But for the reader has to use their imagination to fill in the gaps. I think we did talk about this before. But in Dungeons and Dragons, this came out in the 70s, and it's been sold off a couple of times. Now it's in the 90s. They were bought by Wizards of the Coast, I think, and they still have that property now. But Dungeons and Dragons is the epitome of doing whatever you want in a game. So before there were video games, where you could role play, right? The RPG, the role play game, you had Dungeons and Dragons. And I think it had a specific cult following in the 70s and the 80s, but it just didn't catch on into the ether of pop culture that much. It was there and people were crazy for it, but it sort of faded away because it wasn't seen as something really desired and everyone loved. It was more like a quirky thing. These people would go into someone's house in the basement and use their imaginations and make believe they're a character and roll the dice. It just sounds weird. But look at the resurgence it has now. Dungeons and Dragons is everywhere. Some people probably think it just came out recently because it had been gone. But now you go to any store and Dungeons and Dragons is there somehow in some capacity. Because it's not just a game anymore. It's a video game. I mean, PlayStation, Xbox, all that, Steam. Baldur's Gate 3 is, I just got this for Christmas, and I love that game. Baldur's Gate 3 is really like burned a fire in me, because it's not just about you creating your character and you're thrown into this world. there's chance involved. You have to roll the dice, and depending on what your strength is, your wisdom, your intelligence, your dexterity, your charisma, can you get out of trouble? If your charisma is high and you're trying to talk sweet to this guard to get through, or to sort of bribe him in some way, you roll the dice, and if the dice is high enough, then you can do it successfully. But if it's sort of low, your charisma can sort of pick up the rest and you get through. So if you're playing with a group of people, each of you create your character and you go through this story. And the coolest part of Dungeons and Dragons is there's a dungeon master who is literally writing the story before your very eyes. They have all the control. There was a famous saying, when the dungeon master smiles, you're in trouble. I just love that entire concept, that the entire game of Dungeons and Dragons is up to you. You have the world, you have the lore, and now the rest of it's up to you. And you could do almost whatever you want. You don't have to follow all the rules in Dungeons and Dragons. I know that in schools for kids, Dungeons and Dragons has saved a lot of kids. I mean, I teach kids with learning disabilities, with autism. You should see them play in the club, Dungeons and Dragons. They have a blast. They have so much fun because almost anything is possible. It's as far as your imagination can take you. So I love fantasy. I love reading it. I love listening to the music. I love seeing it. I love playing it. I love writing it. So I think Dungeons and Dragons sort of encompasses a lot, and it's good for you. I know I read an article last week that was talking about how it's good for kids to explore problem-solving skills, to think, what do you do now in this situation? What can we do? What character is best suited for this? So I just think it's a really awesome fandom that has come back, maybe because of Stranger Things. I know Stranger Things on Netflix really sort of brought that back, and they named the monsters after certain things. And I know their most recent one is Vecna. And Vecna in Dungeons and Dragons is this crazy necromancer lich king that turns into a god. And the lore is just so cool. So there's just so much to explore in the game. And I just think it's something cool that it's not just about you playing the game, but you have to roll the dice. And you can get an epic fail, which all the kids use. And if you get an epic fail, it's a 1, obviously, no matter what. You didn't just fail to win something. You failed in the worst way imaginable. But if you roll a 20, then you have, an epic win. You have a critical success. So I just think there's a lot of facets to the game that just make it really awesome.
Gee whiz, man, that's a big D21 you just showed. What the heck is
You know
going
where I
on?
got that? I got that at the AMC to the trailer you showed for
Oh
Dungeons
my
and
gosh.
Dragons. It's actually a popcorn box. Where is it? Hold on. You open it. Where the hell is? There you go. Look at this. You open it. The popcorn
Oh
is
my
there,
gosh,
and you
dude.
get to see out of it. So cool.
Dude. Okay.
That movie was so fun too.
They did good with that one. I was shocked.
Yeah, that
they did
man,
good. I was shocked too. I didn't think they were going to pull it off. It was great.
nice work, Chris Pine and company. Braxton, what are your thoughts on D&D? You familiar with this? Do you play it at home with your
Yeah,
family?
I
Do you
played
go to
D&D as a
do you
kid.
go to the TTG clubs down in Georgia every night or what, man?
Yeah, it's not that to that level. But when I was a kid, I played, and I've actually been a dungeon master for my kids a couple of times, and they got into it. And so it's just fun, like you said, just to kind of read the stories. I just kind of follow with the book that I get that have the stories already in them, and just follow it the best I can. And we have a good time. But it's a great bonding activity, to be quite honest, when everybody kind of gets excited about what you're going to roll and who does what and has the saving throws and wins the day. I was a part of a group up here, but with adults, it's harder. You got to coordinate all that stuff and get there on time. And then, so it's just not as fun.
I can understand that. Scheduling difficulties, can come up every now and then. But no, that's insane stuff, man. Yeah, I'm not overly. I mean, we tried to play. Friends of mine, when this YouTube channel first started as Neuroculture before it morphed into Anico channel, which is what I'm doing now. my colleagues, they were doing D&D and they invited me to join, and I tried joining it one night, and I played for 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, this is too much. I can't think on the fly like that. I can't, like, it's too hard. I don't like being under the gun or being under a time crunch. I need to think about where my next move is going to be or what my story is going to be. I don't know. I just, maybe I overthink it, probably. Overthought it, probably put too much into it. I don't know. Maybe I'll dive into it at some point or another. I don't know, because I hear it's a big deal nowadays. Everywhere you look, every Comic-Con you go to, Christy, you may have seen this too. D&D is everywhere. It's massive. People keep talking about it like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on social media, which is, a good platform to use, with all due respect. But before I get to this individual's comments, because I do want to bring this up because I bring up some interesting points about D&D and some other stuff too. Braxton, if you got to head out of here, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do this. Braxton, it was great to see you. I wish you nothing but success. And if someone wants to know more about you or some of the fandoms or projects you have coming up, where can they follow you, Braxton?
Head on over to my website for my production, my small press publishing company, CosbyMediaProductions.com. That's productions with an S. We published over 30 authors with 60 titles in ebook, audiobook, paperback. We also have our own comic book imprint. We're up to 12 first issue comics. Now, actually, we have 11 first issue with a follow-up second issue for the Cape series that I wrote. We have some fantastic authors who've contributed some wonderful stories. And I think there's a little bit for everybody if you come on over to the site. From there, the links will take you to our Instagram and our Facebook. And we don't really use X anymore, but we do have an account.
Cool stuff, man. Well, thanks for being here, Braxton. Wish you the best of luck with everything. Happy New Year to you and your loved ones down there in the great state of Georgia. We hope to have you back here again soon, man. And hopefully you can stay for a lot longer than the first 30 minutes of a show.
Always a great time, man. I appreciate it. You guys have a good rest of your night. Enjoy 2025.
You too, sir. Have a good night. Be safe out there, brother.
Bye.
Yeah, such a nice man. Isn't he nice? Splendid. All right, let me get our right setup here. There, is that it? There we go. Yay! All right, fantastic stuff. Before I turn things over to Christy, because I want to hear your thoughts about D&D as well. Let's see. Cosmic Vagabond Pixie had some words to say about some stuff earlier, as well as D&D. She says, yes, I wanted to use a certain word to describe a certain person, but yes, he was a part of the crew of A League of Their Own at the time. Got me an autographed picture of Madonna for me at the time, but though he is still so-and-so person. All right, cool. And then she says, my beloved otherworldly magical genius Led Zeppelin was heard in that Dungeons & Dragons trailer we just played. Yeah, the Led Zeppelin is pretty cool when you get the lead out. OMG, happy birthday to J.R.R. Tolkien. Love him so obviously. Did my beloved Led Zeppelin. Hi, yay, it is all connected. That's funny. That's good stuff. And then Cosmic Vagabond Pixie goes on to say, OMG, at one point D&D, it was everywhere. I remember there at one point there was even a store dedicated to D&D back in the day. I never got into it myself, but I had a bunch of guy friends who just freaking lived by it, David. Lived by it. Yeah, I didn't get it. I watched the guys playing the game at the time. And then bravo to everything you just said to us, Braxton Crosby. Well, there you go. See, she's given everyone respect and props. So thank you, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie. And thank you who may be watching or listening to this episode of the Meaning of Fandom on And I Quote channel right now. Do not forget to like and share this with everyone you know. And if you have any comments, let us know in the chat. And if you're joining this on a live or on a replay, thank you for doing that. Christy, you've read books. You've seen books. You've met some of the biggest writers in the world. And you still continue to rub elbows with Timothy Zahn and Claudia Gray and everyone else for that matter, which makes me all the more jealous of you. But I'm just curious, are you familiar with D&D?
I've never played it before, but I definitely know what it is. I do find it cool. And like you were, both of you were saying, like, it's cool how I think it's just always around. Like, it never really dies down. Like, it might have its, like, mega popular moments, but it's always there. And you always see, like, all the dice shops. You always see them selling that. Barnes and Nobles has the whole D&D section, and I think it's also cool how much it inspires other things, whether that's like more video games or even like we were saying, like Stranger Things. Like that started a whole TV show, even though it's not like directly based on it, but it's cool how big it is.
It's absolutely insane how big it is. By the way, for those of you who are interested in supporting local artists or small businesses. Kelly Beckham of at Signs by Kelly on Instagram sells a lot of D&D, her own, personally made because she's an artist herself. Put together D&D notebooks, D&D themed flasks, if you're into that sort of thing, and boxes to carry your die in, the dice and all that kind of stuff. Like gaming supplies, as one might say, David. So if that's your thing, I mean, I know the popcorn thing is a high bar, but if you want to check out at Signs by Kelly on Instagram, our good friend Kelly from Halcyon Designs, check her out, man. She's got some D&D swagger that you may be interested in, Dave. And she's made appearances at Shore Leave too. She tables at Shore Leave every year.
Oh, so I might have seen her actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has those wooden signs that have designs on them and stuff like that. She does, artist wood signs kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
I'll have to look her up.
You have to look up her on
Send me a
Instagram.
link, yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you a link too. I can do that for both you and Christy as well if you haven't heard of our good friend Kelly, who's been on the show and I quote before. She's been on and I quote. You can go back and watch that episode, and if you want, Christy and David, I'll send you the link to that interview so you can go back and watch the tape and get to know Kelly a little bit. She's a good friend of ours, so we care. We wish her all the best. We care deeply about her. She's a good friend. With that being said, turning things over to our next, what is it called? Panelist? That's right. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, I don't even know where I am right now because we've been talking about D&D. I'm trying to make up these stories as I go. But sorry. But anyway, before we turn things over to our next panelist, we have this to share with you. David, Christy, and person who may be watching and listening to this, take a look.
There's so many. Has anyone been to them all?
Not likely.
I want to be the first one to see them all.
Truly wonderful the mind of a child is.
Come on. When you find people who need your help, you help them, no matter what.
Good luck.
We have hope. Hope that things can get better. And they will.
Stand up together. Because that's when we're strongest. As one.
You won't be going alone. You'll have a friend with you.
No. I'll have a Jedi with me.
You might want to buckle up, baby.
Rise in the Force.
Take care of this little one.
It'll take care of you. We had each other. That's how we won.
Force is strong in my family.
Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
What is it they've sent us?
Hope.
Oh, my goodness. This franchise, this epic saga has been around for nearly 50 years, fellas. Think about that for a second. 50 years. That's half a century, okay? That's a lot. You want to talk about rabbit holes and mythology? Take a look at this thing. I mean, books. Just take a look at the books. Whether it's canon or not canon, it doesn't matter. There's a millions of stories to be told with millions of different characters in millions of different parts of the galaxy because, yes, a galaxy is a lot bigger than you think. So I'm just curious, Christy, you're wearing the shirt. You got the artwork. You got 30,000 of these books laying around somewhere, if not in your brand new reading room / library that you're in the process of putting together and displaying for all to see on your social media channels. Christy, why does Star Wars, of all fandoms, because there's so many fandoms out there, there's so many of them, but I'm just curious, why does Star Wars mean so much to you?
I think it's just something that I've always loved. I always knew about Star Wars. It wasn't something like one of my favorite things is to watch reactors in their like first time seeing Star Wars, and I'm like, wow, how did you go so long with not even knowing that like Anakin was Darth Vader? So going into watching Star Wars for the first time, like I obviously knew all that, but I think I just loved the story. It was like there's the good and there's the bad. And even though sometimes the bad is cool, like the good always wins. And I think it's just good storytelling. And what sticks out to me the most are the characters. I am a very character-driven person. And if I like those characters, then I'm going to love whatever it is. And I think Star Wars does what a fantastic job with characters. And I think since it's so big, you have the opportunity to see these characters so much and really get to know them. It's not like one movie and then they're gone. But if they're like a main character, you get to see them so much. And then there's suddenly a whole comic series on them. There's like 3 books about them. So it's just always there. And there's always so much more to learn about them. And I love that it's always like, it's kind of always current. There's always something coming out, something happening. So it's easy to stay involved in as well.
That's very true. That's very true. Whether it's legends, non-legends, there's millions of books out there. Chrissy, you probably read all of them by now, which makes me all the more jealous of you. Thanks. You've one upped, I think, David and I by like 9,000. See what I did there? Your credibility's up by over 9,000. Isn't that
She's
an
over 9,000.
It's yeah.
And
Exactly.
all right, finally. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? I've been trying to work that into a few of our shows we've had on this channel, David. So I'm glad I got a chance to work that in there. So I guess my
I only got
credibility.
to say it.
It's okay. I guess my credibility went up a few points, but no, you're right. I mean, this thing's been around for nearly 50 years. In 2027, it'll turn the big 50, Christy. 50.
Wow.
And trust me when I tell you, we're going to have an epic celebration for that when the time arises. And two of those movies are actually celebrating anniversaries later this year in 2025, respectively. The Empire Strikes Back turns 45 this year, in case anyone was wondering. One of the biggest films of all time. People call it the best Star Wars movie ever made, which is Empire Strikes Back. According to them, that's just an opinion. I'm not necessarily saying it as a fact. And the other one is Force Awakens turns 10 this year, Chrissy. And that's the film that got a lot of people, including myself, to become massive Star Wars fans. So we'll be celebrating that later on this year. I think we're going to be celebrating that in the month of December, which is when the film came out in 2015, which I was there in theaters to see that. So, which was a lot of fun. I think all of us were there. I mean, Chrissy, you probably saw it like probably 50 times in theaters back in the day, didn't you?
I did. That was my first ever Star Wars movie. I saw it once.
Really?
I vividly remember. I saw it on New Year's Eve in 2015. I vividly remember going to see it, and then I remember like 2 days after that, I made my parents drive me to go get the DVDs of the originals and the prequels, and that's what we watched. And then I kind of just went on from there.
It just the rest is history, as one might say, right?
Yes.
No, I mean, look, I've been a fan of this property for over 10 years. I mean, I grew up watching it on VHS like a lot of us did. My brothers, I have two older brothers, perfect example. They exposed me to the VHS tapes. My dad took me to see the re-releases in 97 when they had the special editions in 1997. We went to the Senator Theater in Baltimore and Maryland, where we lived at the time, or near that area. And it was great. We loved it. And I just, man, it's funny because I remember vividly, I was at a friend's house one night, and my dad pulls up in his car and he says, "Ryan, you better get home. We're going to be leaving soon." I said, "Why?" And he says, and then he butchers the line by saying, "Luke, I am your father." I'm like, "Oh my God, we're going to see Star Wars. Oh my God." So I just hightailed it from my friend's house up my street. I was living in a cul-de-sac at the time, for those of you who are familiar with the layout of a suburban neighborhood like that. And I ran to my house. I jumped into my dad's car and like, let's go. So we drove over to the Senator, Christie, and we saw the three movies, not in one night, of course, because that would have been way past my bedtime. But we saw the three movies when they came out. The original three, and they were re-released. This is a re-release, by the way. And it was so much fun. It's one of those moments when you go to a theater and you have that community experience, right? Everybody experiences this, right? David, you've been to theaters where the theaters just go nuts. So you're sitting in the theater, you're just enjoying yourselves, you're connected by one thing. And as Yoda tells us, in the second film, Christie, Empire Strikes Back, you must feel the force around you. Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
Well, how does he do this? How does
really
he become these people?
I don't know. I don't get it how I do it either, but it's like, we have a connection.
I always say this. Every video, you have these impressions. I have to give you the credit for it.
They're good. They're good.
The sand everywhere. It's just, we're all connected, brother. So with that being said, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not ashamed to say it. Have there been good things about it that work? Yes. There have been some, peaks and valleys of this franchise. Yes. And I can't comment on the most recent one with Skeleton Crew. I've not seen it yet, so don't spoil it. Don't tell me anything. I'm going to wait for all 8 episodes to drop, drop it like it's hot, and then I'm going to go back and binge watch all 8 episodes. And then the Nerdy Cantina, which is a part of this YouTube channel that you may be watching and listening to right now, we're going to do a series review of that. And Christy, I'm assuming you're going to be sitting on that round table with us when we talk about Skeleton Crew, because I want to hear your thoughts on all 8 episodes. Obviously, I'm going to have thoughts once I get around to binge watching it. And who knows? Maybe David will show up. Who knows? Maybe he'll make a cameo. Maybe we'll pay him an extra amount of money for it. No, I'm just kidding. We don't do that. We just have fun with this thing. But Star Wars is it's so much fun to the books, especially if you're a reader in any way, shape, or form. Reading any one of these books is so much fun. I remember reading Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. It's the first Star Wars novel I ever read. I freaking love it. I loved it. I thought to myself, this could easily be a Netflix 10 or like a Disney Plus 10, 13 episode series. I easily thought, this is how good the storytelling is, because I can see this to a certain degree being adapted into a live action television series or maybe even an animated series. I mean, you can bring back Ewan and Liam Neeson to do it. They would do it, right, Chrissy? They would do an animated series. I think they would. And there's just so much lore to it. There's just so much lore to not just Master and Apprentice, but some of the other Star Wars novels as well. David, are you familiar with Star Wars at all? And if so, what are your thoughts on this fandom as a whole?
I never heard of it until today.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. No, I think Star Wars is incredible because, first of all, we were talking about Tolkien and his world building. George Lucas's world building is just as phenomenal. What he built using mythology and using our own history is nothing short of brilliant. We were learning about ancient Rome because I also teach history. And, you know, me and my friend at the time, we're kind of talking about the parallels between ancient Rome and Star Wars. And we're looking at the empire, how it went from a republic to an empire, and what that means, what it entails. There's just so many parallels. It's so relatable. Star Wars can be for anyone. And I think you were right, Ryan. Not all Star Wars is for everyone. There are some people who like The Mandalorian, some people who don't even know what that is. There are some people that only like the original trilogy. They don't like the new stuff. But I think that's a good thing because it shows how versatile Star Wars can be. That you don't have to love all of it, but there's always something to love about it. I think that's something that's as far as it goes for me with Star Wars. But I think what I'll say about it, what I love most about Star Wars is, since I write a lot, I read a lot, and I think the hero's journey is alive and well with Luke Skywalker. He's the epitome, or if not the epitome, really, of the hero's journey, where he comes from, how he starts off, what he learns, all of the struggles, what he has to go through, who he becomes in the end, and he has these choices. I think he too is so relatable, and all the characters, like the scoundrel, the warrior princess, the evil tyrant that fell from grace. You know, he was supposed to be the one. The evil emperor that's just evil. He's just turned. So I just think there are so many fun characters that you can find your favorites, but it's very hard to compete with Star Wars, especially the OG Star Wars. Very difficult to say that there's a fandom that can beat the fandom of Star Wars. It's pretty great.
Yeah, that's fair. I can imagine that. And by the way, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie, I'm telling you, these comments that she's making are just okay. Not quite sure what I'm getting myself into here. Not that that's ever stopped me before, haha. But I just subscribed to this channel. Thank you, appreciate that. Ryan, I hope you are the host of all the time because I just subbed because I am liking your personality. Wow. Okay, getting some props here from a new subscriber. Thank you so much. Goodness gracious. Goes on to say, OMG, I'm freaking the blank out at my beloved Led Zeppelin are finally coming out with something I've been hoping for forever, a documentary movie, just holy World of Warcraft. And if you have not guessed, I guess my fandom is in fact Led Zeppelin. First started listening to their music when I was just the age of 7 years of age. Blown away by them. They are magical beyond belief. To me, they're the only band, but let me see, they are the only band to put me in a trance consistently. Wow. Okay, so ever since I played the Dungeons and Dragons, she's been on this major, celebratory mood of everything Led Zeppelin and I guess a couple of things, the fandoms that we're discussing, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I think what she's saying is she's a bard. She's a bard class for sure.
Yeah.
She plays the music.
Okay. All right. She's a bard, by the way. Okay. Thank you for clearing that up, by the way, David. Cosmic Vagabond Bixie is saying, ah, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, see, she keeps on laughing. Keep laughing. We aim to please. If we make you laugh, if we make you smile, if we give you something to cheer about or get educated about when it comes to fandoms or other topics that we discuss on these shows, hey, we would have done our part, right? I mean, we're just doing our thing. And she says, "Right on, David. Right on." See, she's agreeing with you, brother. She's agreeing with you. That's for sure. Well done, David. Well done. You got some brownie points here with our subscribers. Isn't that special? As if Christy hasn't gotten a couple of dozen brownie points already with all the appearances she's made on the past number of our shows. Isn't that right, Christy?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. But yeah, no, the Star Wars is huge. It's going to keep going for hundreds of years. It's not going anywhere. There's too many books, too many stories, too many characters, right, Christy? There's too many characters. There's too much world building, as we discussed earlier. I mean, there's a billion things you can do with this. They can put together another animated series. Don't they have like 2 or 3 in development right now? And then there's like 1 or 2 live action shows they're developing. We obviously know that the Mandalorian and Grogu live action movie is being shot right now, is being put together. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. Looking forward to seeing what they do with that, because I'm a huge Mandalorian fan. I don't know about you guys, but I freaking love Mandalorian. So
I'm just excited for more movies. I'm ready for another movie.
Do you miss the movies? Do you miss them?
I do. I enjoyed all of them. I would like to go see another one.
It would be nice.
It'd be cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing Mandalorian Grogu, because that's going to be a theatrical release. So that should be fun. Christy, you'll be there opening weekend, front row center, right?
Oh yeah.
You're going to be at the Velvet Carpet premiere with George and Dave and John. You're gonna
That's like a dream.
I mean, are you going to be rubbing elbows with them, giving them canvases of your embroidery?
They like, invite me, please.
Yeah, I'm sure Filoni would appreciate your embroidery, because James Arnold Taylor, your best friend who voices Obi-Wan in the original animated series, he loves it.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the highlights for Christy in 2024, David. She got a massive shout out from the biggest names in Hollywood at what Comic-Con was this? Is this Fan Expo?
I was at Fan Expo Boston.
Boston. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. It's on our social media. You can find. Is the video still there, Christy? Is there a video on your social media regarding that?
First pin post.
Oh, okay.
It's a pin, David. So now you know where to find it.
It's special time. I think that's what also makes me just keep on loving it. Like, especially the Clone Wars cast. I love them. They're just such awesome people. And I think just constantly going to conventions, they're there a lot. So just getting to see them all the time, it's nice.
Yeah. And they post her artwork up in their offices. Did you know that, David?
No, that's
her artwork is adorning James Arnold Taylor and who's the other Matt Lanter's office spaces. Yeah. It's kind of a big deal. I know. That's why she's doing so well as an apprentice. I feel like she's already a Jedi Knight. I just need to give her the degree. Gotta go through. I'm ready to face the trials. I just got to go to Christy and be like, "Yo, Christy, it's time for the trials. Let's go. Let's find out what you're really made of. We got work to do. Let's go." And then there's gonna be insert Rocky montage here as she's training for the trials. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? We could put a montage together, Christy. It'd be fun. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joshing you. I'm messing with you. But no, Star Wars has been very, very good to me. And it's sorry, I almost forgot what I was going to say there. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's so much to do with it. There's so much directions you can potentially. What am I trying to say? Take it, I think, is the word that we're trying to say. Good Lord, I have no idea what I'm doing with myself. Well, once again, this is the Meaning of Fandom, our first show here in 2025 for and I Quote channel, respectively. Do not forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you're joining us live on the replay, thank you so much for doing so. And if you have any thoughts on this fandom or some of the other characters or fandoms that may have been mentioned earlier in this program, or something you may want to bring up or ask us questions about, if you wish, please let us know in the comments. Please let us know within the chat. We're more than happy to take those as they come in here. Let's see what else Cosmic Vagabond Pixie has up her sleeve. She says, "Oh man, when I first saw Star Wars, I was just a little girl. And of course, Princess Leia on the car ride home. Wow, that is WoW, by the way, not World of Warcraft." Okay, so you're just clarifying for me, because I read it out as being World of Warcraft earlier. Sorry. She means, "Heh, such great memories. Thank you, Christy, for making me remember that memory." Oh, look at that, Christy. You're getting your brownie points. You're getting cookies, as a Cookie Monster might say. Are you a Cookie Monster fan, Christy? Do you like Cookie Monster at all? No, not really. No,
indifferent. I like cookies though.
All right, but you don't know who Cookie Monster is, do you?
I know who Cookie Monster
is.
I
was gonna say, if you don't know who Cookie Monster is, then we got other issues.
Of course I know who Cookie Monster is.
I was gonna say he's my best friend. I share his social media posts on his Instagram all the time. I have an autographed print of Guy Gilchrist, who's Jim Henson's cartoonist, drawing of him. And he wrote on the print, Ryan, you love your microphone almost as much as me love cookie, you know. And then he signed a Cat Joker. It's so funny. It's really good. You can find it on our social media channels when you get a chance. It's really funny. Oh, oops, my sentence was messing up there. There was something. I was Princess Leia. Oh, okay. See, now she's making sure that she's correcting her typos there. Okay, cool. Well, for those of you just tuning in, we're going to share with you another character fan that means something special to us and why. Most of you probably won't know what this is, but I will explain it as we go throughout the course of this presentation. So for those of you watching or listening to Meaning of Fandom right now, we have this for you. Take a look.
Two tickets to California, please.
That's $226.
Well, we only have $27.30. What does that get us?
Nowhere.
Corey's taking his brother Jimmy on a ride.
These two boys already traveled more than 80 miles across the state.
We've hired someone to find him.
What's his problem? He's just shy.
But Jimmy's got a secret
You got 50,000 on Double Dragon?
that could make this the ride of their lives.
Look at him. He's a wizard. He's headed for the video championship.
This guy?
What is that?
Power glove.
Yeah, well, just keep your power gloves up front, all right?
With a touch of romance
I am not kissing a boy.
and a ton of trouble.
That's huge.
We're too late.
Put me down!
Sorry about that.
You maniac!
They'll get there any way they can.
Jimmy! Here we come!
It's Jimmy! It's Jimmy!
Come here! Hey!
Now, what do you think you're doing to him?
All his life, you've been telling him to do what you want him to do. How about once you ask him what he wants to do, huh?
Now,
Video Armageddon.
it's going to take a lot of guts,
You can do it!
a little magic,
You're the best!
and the wizard, Fred Savage. The Wizard.
Well, that's one for the books, isn't it? The Wizard is a movie that came out back in 1989. I know, I'm dating. Some of us are being dated here. Came out in Christmas of '89. Came and went. Nobody really saw it. A lot of critics and audiences dismissed it as just a big advertisement for Nintendo and the Nintendo Entertainment System. And obviously, Super Mario Bros. 3 was debuting at that point, or it was about to debut in America, and it was a big deal. It was one of the hottest selling titles, one of the hottest selling video games of all time. The Nintendo Entertainment System is one of the biggest, well-known, and most popular gaming consoles of all time. That's what I just said, all time. And I remember being at the beach with my family, and my brother took me to a video store. Anyone remember video stores? These were like a really, really big deal back in the 90s, David. I don't know if you remember these or not, but I remember going to West Coast Video in Ocean City, in Maryland at that time. And my brothers took me and they said, Ryan, you got to see this movie. And they showed me the original box for The Wizard. And I was looking at it. I'm thinking to myself, this is really cool. It's got an interesting cover on it. It's got Fred Savage. And I know Fred Savage best from The Wonder Years, which is one of the greatest American sitcoms of all time. And I thought, okay, it's video games. Okay, well, where are they going to take this? What is this exactly? And then my brother didn't want to explain it to me too much because obviously he wanted me to watch the film. And so I sat down, I watched the movie, and when the movie was over, I thought, this was so cool. It's about a kid who is an expert at playing video games, and then they go to California, because the whole movie, the kid, one of the words that the kid likes to say, one of the lead characters, Luke Edwards, who plays Jimmy Woods, is saying California. And that's where he wants to go, because he remembers taking trips with his family up and down the West Coast, up and down California, whatever it was. And it's a coming of age movie to a bit of a degree, and it's also a family coming to grips with a family tragedy and trying to get over it and trying to move on and do something else with their life. And in this case, the youngest child wants to play video games. He just has a knack for playing video games. And amazingly, in the trailer that you just saw, he gets 50,000 on Double Dragon, which I hear is impossible or near impossible. I don't know if anyone else has played Double Dragon, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I love this movie. Is it cheesy? Is it over the top? Is there a lot of moments of you guys suspension of disbelief? Yeah, sure. But I don't care. I don't care, David. I don't care because this movie is fun. It's imaginative. It's got dozens and dozens of video game references. Some of those games I played when I was younger on an NES or an SNES. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, Nintendo or Super Nintendo were big deals. And some of them still are. I mean, Nintendo's still going strong 50, 70, 60, 70 years later with Nintendo Switch and the portable gaming stuff, right? I mean, there's portable gaming consoles. There's stuff that you can carry in your hand. There was Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, all this stuff, that has been around since, the 80s, because I hear the 80s were pretty hip and rad. I just wasn't there for 60% of it. Sorry. But The Wizard is a film that came out in 89. The movie just turned 35 in December. Unfortunately, we couldn't do a 35th anniversary watch along due to scheduling conflicts and some other things that were going on at the time. But I wanted to celebrate it here now in 2025 because I didn't want to leave the fans who are fans of this property, The Wizard from 1989, hanging, because I love this movie. I love the characters. Fred Savage. I grew up watching you, man. I grew up watching you in films like Little Monsters with Howie Mandel, The Great American Sitcom, The Wonder Years with Winnie Cooper. I mean, I was there, man. Those are some good times, my friends. So anyway, it's about a kid who has a knack for playing video games and they go to a video game competition, which, by the way, e-gaming nowadays is huge, right? It's everywhere. Video game competitions are everywhere you look. They could be in New York, New Jersey, Atlanta. They could be in Long Island, New York. I don't know. They're everywhere. They are just everywhere and anywhere. So I'm just curious, David, has this film ever come across your desk or Rolodex at all, The Wizard?
You're going to hate this. So I know of The Wizard. I know why it was around. I think it was sort of like a big marketing ploy for the new Super Mario game, I think. But I've never actually seen the movie from start to finish or anything like that. I've only seen little clips. So I don't even know how it ends or anything like that. I just know what it represents, and I think you sort of hit it right there. Video game specialists that exist now, which is unbelievable. People making thousands upon thousands of dollars, competing in video game tournaments, from fighter games, from shooter games. So it's a serious big business thing. I think this movie sort of predicted that would happen. That's pretty cool.
Okay. Well, I do have some good news for you. For those who are wondering if you can stream The Wizard 1989 anywhere and anywhere, everywhere and everywhere. Good Lord, my words are terrible. It just landed on YouTube for free with ads. So Christy, David, Braxton, if you're watching this, you can stream The Wizard for free right now on YouTube. So
I probably
just
will,
dropped.
actually.
It literally just dropped like 3 days ago for New Year's. So when I saw that on my YouTube feed, I thought, finally, the YouTube gods listen to me. And they put this movie, because it's very hard to find on streaming nowadays, but now it's streaming for free with ads on YouTube, Christy and David. So you can sit back and watch this hour and 35-minute family movie anytime you want. You can watch it whenever you want. Christy, I highly advise you to watch it over the weekend before you go back to school. David, you can do the same before you go back to school on Monday, if there even is school on Monday, because they're calling for snow up there, so who knows. But you can stream it. Make it a date night movie between you and Anne. I don't know.
Well, she's going to love that.
Probably. I mean, it is rated PG. It's a PG rated film, so you both can watch it. It's fine. Not that you couldn't before, but it's just.
I was just gonna ask.
Who cares about the rating? Who cares? No one cares. But anyway, yeah, it's a family movie, so go ahead and watch it. Anyway, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie says, "OMG, now I love you, Ryan. Ha f yeah. Wonder Years is the freaking most best TV series ever. And how come they will not play reruns of it? That is making me so mad. Man, that show. Wow. Yay, Winnie Cooper." Yeah, that's right. Well, that stinks. I had no idea it was a marketing freaking tool for Nintendo. I loved that movie. I forgot a lot about it from that trailer, though. Well, hey, we're happy to remind you, and you can watch it for free on YouTube with ads right now, The Wizard from 1989. It's there, and you'll see the thumbnail. It'll be there. And, yeah, you're welcome. Wow, she's really enjoying our content, let me tell you.
She's having a good time with the rest of us are, man.
She's having a wonderful time, actually. Christy, have you ever come across this in your travels, The Wizard from 1989 with Fred Savage? Does that ring any bells? Probably not.
Can't say it has. I've never really heard of this movie, but to be honest, I haven't watched the most movies out there, if I'm being completely honest with myself. But I do like, I'm starting to love like older movies now. Like, I mean, new movies are good and all, but sometimes the older movies are just the best kind. They're just so like lighthearted, and that's sometimes all you need.
That's very true. That's very true. This was actually a fun fact for those of you who like music, which all of us do, because music is a language of the soul. There's a song featured in the soundtrack of this movie, and it's called Send Me an Angel by the band called Life, I think it was called. That single alone is fantastic when they use it in the movie, and it's fantastic as a song in general. Obviously, you can stream it whenever you want on YouTube, because most music is available on YouTube. That's the thing about the interwebs; everything's available. But you can find that song. It's called "Send Me an Angel." It's really, really good. It's a good '80s tune. And by the way, the score in this movie, when the both of you listen to it during the course of the film, it's really good '80s type stuff, like synthesizers, riffs, guitar riffs, whatever it is. Christy, you'll get a blast out of this thing. So enjoy the movie, watch it, enjoy it, and if it inspires you to play some video games on an NES or a Nintendo Switch and replay some Super Mario from when you were a kid, or whether you're a young adult, some of us here are now, feel free to go back and play those things. Jeez, I mean, I remember playing Super Mario Brothers. I remember playing Duck Hunt on my brother's NES. It had there was an orange gun that you would use to shoot down the ducks in Duck Hunt. I don't know if anyone, David, do you remember Duck Hunt at all?
Oh my god! I used to go right up to the screen, just shoot the ducks, and then the dog would laugh at me, and I'd be shooting the dog to no avail. So
yeah, by accident, by the way, by accident.
Oh sure.
Yeah. But that was.
Yeah, we all shot him by accident. That's okay.
All right.
Well, you know what I really loved was that golden cartridge from The Legend of Zelda. The way that was packaged for Nintendo, they're saying, "Hey, here's all the video game cartridges you can play. They're all gray, but this one's gold."
Oh,
what? Huh? Mom, why is it gold? Cool. And then we all wanted to play with it.
Yeah,
it's like we're geniuses with marketing.
Yeah, and another thing, it's funny you mentioned the word gold, because Christy mentioned this on her social media the other day. My favorite bookmark is the one where it's gold, like the golden ticket from Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah,
isn't that right? Isn't that right, Christy? Don't you have a bookmark that's literally a golden ticket?
Yeah, I just bought it.
Did you?
I bought it. Yeah, I bought it like
Where was this? Where'd you find it?
4 days ago, Barnes and Nobles.
Oh, was it Barnes and Noble?
Yeah, it was half off too. I was like, this is perfect. It was too perfect not to buy it.
Grandpa and go to the factory.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't you round up your grandpa and go to the chocolate factory?
Oh, Grandpa.
Come on, Willie.
Grandpa Joe, anybody?
Lick all the walls.
How many times have you seen that movie, Christy? The original, the Gene Wilder version.
The original?
Yeah.
At least 5, I would say.
5. You like it that much, huh?
I've seen the new one like 4 times now.
Yeah. Is that Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah.
Is it Chalamet? Okay, Chalamet's playing Wonka. Have you seen that iteration of it, David?
I have. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. I think I like the original.
Yeah,
but
Gene
I know
Wilder.
they're all different in their own way. I think the Johnny Depp one is the creepiest one.
It's a creepy one, isn't it?
It's definitely creepy. I think the newer one is very lighthearted and fun. So it's definitely a worthy watch. Because I think Timothy Chalamet. Joey, how do you pronounce his last name?
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, I think he could do anything.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he can pull off any role he wants. So.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
He is actually pretty good. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't he the lead actor right now in the Dune series?
Yeah.
You are wrong. No, of course he is. Yeah.
Okay, I was good because I haven't seen. Yeah, but I haven't seen Dune yet, Christy.
No, come on.
I know. I haven't seen Dune.
Too.
I know. Isn't there going to be a threequel? Isn't there a part 3 coming out?
The last one, yeah.
Yeah.
The last one's coming out soon.
Is it coming out this year? Is it 2025 that they're going to put that in theaters?
No, I think they're still making it.
Oh, is it delayed? Or no, it's not coming out till 2026, right?
I don't even know.
Does anyone know about that, Christy? Do you know if Dune Part 3 is coming out in 2026?
Let's see when it's coming out.
It might be 2026, because if they pushed it to another year.
It says December 2026.
Oh man, that's Christmas time. Christmas time. Okay. Well, that'll be Christmas of not this year, but next year, Christy. So
yes.
All right. Well, mark it down on your Christmas list. That'll be a nice thing to see for the wrap up 2026 with a post-apocalyptic film known as Dune Part 3.
Yes.
So to speak. I haven't seen the first 2 parts yet. I'm sorry.
Okay, you don't have to apologize.
I'm a terrible person. I know. I'm a terrible person. I'm jumping the shark here. By the way, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie says, aha, Pixie Twirls. Yes, I'm enjoying this show ever so much. Thank you all. Aha, ha, ha, shooting the duck hunt up to the screen. Yeah, we did that a lot. Jamie is here. Jamie Hill says, hello to everybody. Hello, Jamie. Good to see you.
Hello.
Hope everything's well in your neck of the woods. Dreamers, she's saying hi back. But sorry, I cannot deal with the Oompa Loompas in the original. Eek. Ugh, shudder. Nightmare. And then Jamie says, I've seen them. I've seen Oompa Loompas, what, in person or just on the big screen?
I've seen them. I've seen things.
I've seen things, but are you talking about like in person, or are you just talking about in the movie sense? By the way, Christy, my favorite part of the original Willy Wonka movie, the Gene Wilder version, is when he tells Charlie that he lost, he doesn't win anything, and then he drops that hammer on him. Good day, you get nothing, you lose. Good day, sir. I mean, come on. It's great. Yeah. I love it. Don't you just love that scene when he gets angry? Because you've never really seen him angry up until that part, right?
Yeah.
You've never seen him.
I think that's why
he actually ad-libbed that scene.
Oh, did he ad-lib the whole thing?
Well, no, I know that his yelling was.
Oh, it was ad-libbed. Yeah.
A shock. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I did not know that. Chrissy, did you know that he ad-libbed some of that stuff?
I feel like I've heard, I feel like I knew it, that like it wouldn't be something that like.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
feel like I've heard that before.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Yeah. Good day, sir. And
2024 was definitely my Willy Wonka year.
It was, wasn't it? From watching the movies numerous times to getting the bookmark that you just spoke of to read it. Did you read I mean, are there any Willy Wonka books that you read?
I've actually never read. I might have read them when I was younger, but I don't really remember ever reading them.
That's okay. It's all right. I was just curious if there were any.
The meme where at that scene when Gene Wilder is yelling at Charlie, and then Charlie goes to the desk and puts something on the table. It was supposed to be the candy,
the everlasting gobstopper.
Yeah, it was the gobstopper. In the meme, it was a letter saying, "I'm going to report this whole place to OSHA." And he goes, Charlie, you did it. It took you won. You did it. Please don't do that. It was so
I've never seen that. Chrissy, have you seen this meme?
I have to find that
I think I have.
Oh, you got to Google this. Look at your social media stream, Chrissy. See if you can find it on Google. That's funny. That's hilarious. I did not know that. I'm going to report you to OSHA, you fool. What do you think you're doing here? Because literally that movie is about kids dying. Because literally in every scene, a kid dies.
Their fates are gruesome, some of them.
And the other thing is, like, you don't hear about them at all. Like, I'm curious. Like, I mean, we know what happens to them. Like, when you really think about it, like, what's her name? Veruca drops down the turkey chute, right? And I'm thinking, did she just drop to, like, her death? Or did she just drop into another room and then someone found her and then they got her out of there? Like,
well, at the very end, don't they all come out in all weird ways and they all look crazy? I think they all come out of the building.
Well, Violet, I don't know if Violet survived because she got really big and, obese because of the candy that she ate. So I don't know if they were able to take care of that.
Yeah, had to squeeze her out, right?
Didn't Wonka say they had to squeeze the juice out of her?
Oh, the juicing. Yeah, I think they said
juicing.
Oh, man. Oof.
That don't sound good at all. That doesn't painful.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound pleasant, does it?
Does not sound good.
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie in a bit, too. So I'm just like, ugh. Cosmic says, ah, ha, ha, ha. And then she says, I've seen the first two Dune films or the first two Willy Wonka movies, because there's 3 of them now, aren't there? So, yeah, there's Gene Wilder, there's Johnny Depp, and now there's Timothée Chalamet. So there you go. There's 3 of them. She says, my favorite writer when I was 11 years old was Hunter S. Thompson. Ha, 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 shaking my head. Well, that's not a bad thing. Didn't Hunter S. Thompson write some of the most influential, like, books or something like that? Hunter S. Thompson. Why does that name ring a bell, David? Do you know Hunter S. Thompson?
I know what a hunter is, and I know what a Tommy gun is, but I don't know what hunter. Hold on, let me look it up.
Yeah, now I'm curious.
I'm supposed to know this because
Hunter S. Thompson sounds very familiar to me. I feel like that name has come across my desk a couple times. She says blankety blank, yeah. Hunter S. Thompson. What did he write? I'm trying to think. Anyone else know this? And then he says he rocks. She says, "Man, I'm trying to think. Hunter S. Thompson wrote something."
Says he's a major contributor to journalism and literature. He wrote hundreds of articles and many books. Taught in college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have a lot.
Okay, well, I feel like I've heard that name before.
He wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
There you go. There it is.
That's
there
the
it
big
is.
one. Yeah.
And William S. Burroughs in the book Nam. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. All right. I've heard the name before, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie. I keep saying that username. It's so unique. But yeah, I've heard the name. I don't think I've read this person's work or some of their articles or something like that. I can't really comment or speculate. Goodness gracious, we could talk about writers all night. Because David's a writer, which he writes dark fantasy novels. Christy, if you want to read some fantasy stuff, Christy's a fan of reading because she's been a fan of reading since she came out of the womb. So it's like,
that's incredible.
A reader and a writer in the same room. What could possibly go wrong? Nothing.
Probably nothing.
Probably nothing. Christy, I'm messing with you. It's fine. By the way, just out of curiosity, because we were talking about this. We were talking about this earlier. No, it's okay. We were talking about this earlier when it comes to books, reading, and how they influence our writing and our imaginations and all that kind of stuff. Because we were talking about that earlier. Christy, what is your reading goal for this year? How many books are you aiming to read? Because you posted something about it earlier. When it comes to what do you want to read or how many books you want to read, I'm assuming.
I hope 50.
50?
Possibly.
Okay. 50. There are 52 weeks in a year. So
if it doesn't, oh well.
Okay. 50 books in a year. That sounds about right.
We'll
what about
you,
David? You gonna shoot for the stars and go for 52?
Use the balls, Steve.
You gonna try to read 52 books in a year, David? Or you gonna try to write write 10 books in a year? Or maybe 5. Maybe 5.
I could write 1 book in a year is a beautiful thing.
Well, maybe you can write 5.
Yeah, right. And then
or
I'll
3.
have to check myself into the award.
Okay, well maybe 2 or 3 is worth looking into. I don't know. No, but I know you're writing something, and we wish you the best of luck with your writing. Cosmic says he was so wild. Hunter S. Thompson his entire life he was wild. It's worth looking into when you get a chance off camera. Wow. Okay. Hunter S. Thompson, Christy, David, you have homework to do. I'm not doing it. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a lot of homework to do, man.
I could do some homework after this set is done.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there. Once again, this is the Meaning of Fandom here on Anti-Quote Channel. Do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you have any thoughts on this fandom or some of the other fandoms or characters or properties that we've been discussing thus far, or maybe something you want to discuss in the future for a future episode of the Meaning of Fandom, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. And if you're joining us live for what is known as a replay, we thank you so much for being with us. Well, I got to tell you, this has been one heck of an interesting educational first episode of the Meaning of Fandom in 2025. This has been a lot of fun, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Braxton for being with us earlier in this episode. He was great. Wish him the best of luck with everything. Christy, David, it was so great to see you guys. It was great being here talking about all this stuff with you. This is so much fun. Obviously, we can be here for hours, but I don't want to disrespect anybody's time. And plus, Ryan's got another show later tonight at 11 o'clock that I would really not like to be too tired for. So Fridays are very important to us here at this channel because we have either the Meaning of Fandom or the movie watch-alongs Fridays at 7 p.m. EST, and then we have Freewheeling Fridays where I have a guest on with me and we just talk about them and some of the other things they're passionate about at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is going down later tonight. And I will be posting about that on our social media here momentarily once I get off set for this show. So I'm just saying there's a lot going on around here and I'm doing my best to be prepared for it, but sometimes I'm a little behind, just a little bit behind the 8 ball. He says, "Oh, very best of luck to you all, David and Christy." And she's giving you the heart emoji.
Yeah.
Thank
She's
you.
so cool. Thanks so much for all your positive vibes.
Yeah, honestly, Cosmic Vagabond Pixie, if whatever your real name is, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for being with us nonetheless. This has been a great episode of the Meaning of Fandom. We hope you have enjoyed this if you're watching and listening to this right now. So, Christy, if someone wants to know more about you and the incredible artwork or 50,000 books that you read a year, where can they follow you on social media? Because I hear you got a podcast too.
You could follow me over at Sniffs & Co. All the stuff is down here. For my artwork, I make embroidered canvases. I also go to a bunch of Comic-Cons in New Jersey, New York, now Boston too. So definitely follow me on there to keep updated with that. And if you like books, you can follow me over at Admiral Reads, where that is where I post all my book stuff.
Look forward to seeing how that reading room of yours turns out because it's looking very
Thank
splendid.
you.
Right now. Yeah, it's gonna break Guinness Book of World Records for most books and most ridiculously good-looking reading room in the history of America. Potentially, for that matter.
Thank
But Christy,
you,
you are great. You're a great apprentice. You're learning so much within the Force and outside of the Force, and you got so much going for you. And I wish you nothing but success moving forward. I'm going to talk to you here again momentarily. But in the meantime, Christy, yeah, you're the best, Snips. We love you, Snips. Just keep on training, keep learning the ways of the Force, just keep doing your thing, and we're going to see you back here very, very soon when we talk about Skeleton crew.
Can't
We'll be
wait.
back here in a few weeks for that, a few weeks from now. So keep your Fridays or Saturdays open because we're going to be texting you here very soon for that. But David, if someone wants to know more about you and some of the great things that you have coming up or some of your other favorite fandoms when it comes to your writing or things you just enjoy about life in general, where can they follow you on social media, David?
You could, well, my last name, maminabooks.com. If you want to check out my work, what I do, I also have a really cool card game that I created based off the characters of my books. You could type my name in Google and you can find my books around and other things I've done. But I'm on YouTube as Mamina Books and Games. And you can find me on Instagram right there, David V. Mamina. So I'm all over the place. Maybe I'm too much all over the place, running myself ragged. Who knows? But yeah, you'll find me around. I'm everywhere.
Thank you so much, David. Appreciate you, man. You're a gentleman and a scholar. So we wish you the best of luck with everything moving forward for certain. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Personally, if you want to follow us across all forms of social media, simply go to at And I Quote Channel. We got a lot of great things coming your way very soon. Once again, the Meaning of Fandom is on the first Fridays of every month at 7 p.m. EST. Movie watch-alongs are going to be on the second, third, and fourth Friday of each month at 7 p.m. EST. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Once we reach 5,000 subscribers, go to throw a great big live stream celebration that will include returning favorites such as Christy, David. They're more than welcome to come back and say hello and see how things are going for them with their projects and things they got coming up and stuff like that. And we're going to have some special, very surprise guests. And we're also going to have special giveaways that you, the incredible viewer/subscriber, is going to be eligible to win. Also, we have merch that's available right now in our social media bios. Take a look at our links there. It's a Redbubble store. We got shirts, we got hoodies, we have stickers, we have coffee mugs. Maybe not as cool as that D&D one that David showed us earlier. Good Lord, man. You are D&D obsessed. Good Lord. But we have some merch that you may enjoy or want to add to your collection. Maybe Christy will find a bookmark there with her name written all over it. I don't know. Maybe Christy. You may have to look into that. I'm not sure. But it's a lot of great stuff and really appreciate it. Once again, the other show that I host and produce is on Fridays. It's called Freewheeling Fridays. Hosted by myself every Friday at 11 p.m. EST. It's on the Madness Comic Network. It's going to be on the Comic Blast channel for this week, so make sure you check that out. But it is going to be linked on our Facebook page and I Quote Channel, so make sure you're following us across all forms of social media. So many great things are planned. It's a new year. We got lots of great shows coming your way with very special guests. We have a lot of new faces who are going to be joining us here on our virtual set. We also have a lot of great movies that are turning a certain age. Our first episode of Movie Watch Along will be next week. We'll be celebrating the 15-year anniversary of Denzel Washington's post-apocalyptic film, The Book of Eli, turns 15. And then the week after that, we'll be doing a movie anniversary watch-along for the 35th anniversary of Tremors, starring 6 Degrees Kevin Bacon. Yeah, you got that right. It's coming, guys. It's coming, and it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. So once again, Happy New Year to you and your families, your loved ones, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the Meaning of Fandom. We will be back on the first Friday of each month for another episode. And remember, life is better when celebrating your favorite characters or fandoms with family or friends. Take a look.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Tell us about yourself. Who are you?
Tell me! It is a gift.
A privilege.
Behold! My stuff.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on! Let's get nuts.
I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
All right, I'm a little tired, I'm a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.